What's going on, guys? We are drawing as usual, and today we are talking about the Ithling. Specifically the Ukiah tribe of the Ithling. We'll get into all of that in a second. Today I've got my camera pointed at my sketchbook. I'm not even gonna try and explain how apocalyptic of a process that was. I don't actually own a tripod, so another investment we will have to be making into YouTube. But for now, we've got it to work, and we're gonna draw. A lot of people said that I should do this, and I'm certainly not against it. I think that my work is significantly more interesting than I am, but I just didn't know if people would be interested. It's just, this is such a tedious process. Throughout the entirety of this video, I'm probably literally just gonna be working on the forest floor. But maybe people will find that interesting, and you get to see the piece itself, or at least what I've kind of been working on today, which is the home of the Ukiah tribe. So before I start talking about the Ithling, I figured that it might be worthwhile to just go over a brief synopsis of what the magic system within my world is, which I absolutely love. It actually took some doing to come up with. I think that that's one of the most difficult parts of coming up with high fantasy in 2025, or whenever I really first started on this endeavor, is just a magic system. It's just been tried so many different ways that it's so hard not to be derivative. And a lot of authors don't put too much stock into hard magic systems. It's just, it's magic, it works, and they kind of more focus on the classes of magic. But I put a lot of time into developing kind of a cohesive magic system with very specific mechanics and rules. And so, my magic system revolves around the five senses. In my novels, they are called the divine senses. They are granted by, some sort of other being or supernatural entity. Obviously I, as the architect of my story, have all of these answers. My characters do not. But within my world, there are basically five competing magic systems. Some of them are given by heritage, by genetics. We have an entire race of Ithling that have the taste. The shepherds, who can weave spells into objects. They bear the touch. That is another genetic trait that is passed down through blood. But then we have some that aren't given by heritage, such as the voice or the scent. And I'll probably go into those at a later date. But my magic system does revolve around the five senses. And today we're going to be talking about the taste, which was kind of a weird one because I didn't really know how I was going to make that work. Some of them come naturally, like the art of weaving or just the voice. But taste was something that was really giving me trouble when I was at years ago when I was first coming up with this world. And when I finally landed on what I wanted to go with, I wasn't super excited about it. And then when I started coming up with all of the world building and the cultural aspects behind it, I just got really invested. So, the taste, what is it? The Ithling are a group of people that can taste magical fruits and absorb their powers. Magical fruits are something that grow within my world kind of indiscriminately all across Fenelore and Imperavan as a whole. And there's a lot of speculation as to how these magical plants got into my world. Some people believe that it's just natural, that magic is a product of nature, and that sometimes it manifests itself into living things, and those living things bear fruit. Some people believe that it was done with intention, that there was something of an original gardener, like a celestial being that walks the earth planting these magical fruits, and that he was the first gardener. There's different sects of religions that have spawned around that. It's not extremely clear to all of my characters just exactly how magic works, and B, kind of the root of it. But regardless, it does exist, and the race of the Ithling are the only ones that can taste these magical fruits and, absorb their power. And it's been it's been super, super fun because you have the Ithling as a whole, and, as a race, they're similar in the way that they all kind of revolve around these magical plants. But what does happen is you have a lot of vast differences within culture, tribe by tribe, right? So, I've got my map here in my shot. So you have Rackham, which is where the Ashonte tribe lives, at the base of the Ashonte tree. All of the Ithling tribes, for the most part, they choose to live with whatever their respective magical fruit is at the heart of their civilization. They can't move that fruit, so they have to live near it because it is the source of their power, whatever that may be. The Ashonte tribe is renowned for their physical stature and strength because that is what their fruit gives them. If they were to eat it once, it's just physical speed and strength augmented over a short period of time. But it is part of their culture to eat of it when they are very, very young and have it be as a part of a consistent part of their diet. And because of that, it actually alters their very physical state, their physique. So you have this towering tribe of Ithling, each of which is on average 7 feet tall and just beefy, burly. The men and the women, and it's a product of their fruit. And because of that, their tribe is going to look very, very different to that of the Ukiam tribe, which, they live up here next to the Broken Peak in the Northern Reach. And that's what I'm drawing right now is the Ukiam tribe. Or at least, some of their dwellings. We go over their dwellings in some exposition in the first book, so I thought that it would be, fitting to at least to just draw one out for my reader. It feels kind of like a cheap shot, so just side tangent, that, I am drawing some of these. I'm really, I hope you guys see this when, you read my books, that I do my best not to rely on my artistic prowess to cheapen my, verbal descriptions of where we are. I want these drawings to augment to it because if I ever do an audiobook, you're not going to have these, and a lot of authors picture books aren't really as common. It's just so much of my drawings spawn my world that I feel like I have to include my drawings. But anyway, the Ithling of the Ukiam tribe. All right, so this is a different kind of tribe up in the north, and theirs is a much softer plant that grants them the ability it's not really even an ability, it's expanded consciousness. So when the Ukiam people eat of their fruit, they become aware of the consciousness of all living things around them. And that's all living things. So that's each other, that's animals, that's just everything. And it's interesting to see kind of the symbiotic relationship that they start to have with nature because of that. So you'll have a lot of different things, but we explore with the Ukiam tribe just kind of what that would do to a person and to an entire culture being aware of everybody's emotions. They can't read each other's thoughts, it's not telepathy, but they can sense what each other are feeling. They can, sense their consciousness. And what it starts to do for these people over the course of time is you kind of lose your own autonomy and you lose your own individuality and identity because you start to care less and less about yourself, and you care more and more about the collective good because the collective good is for your own, it's good for your own sake, right? I mean, if, you are happy, but you're sitting in a room full of sad people and you can feel the weight of that sadness borne upon your own consciousness, then, it would be significantly harder to be happy, and eventually you would just kind of start to feel what everybody else is feeling. And it goes the same way in the inverse. And, because of that, you kind of have this weird subconscious hive mind, that, that's not something that they really want. It's just, a product of their nature because they eat this fruit. And, that causes even some strife within the tribe. Some of the younger, more adolescent members of the tribe, they don't partake in eating of the Ukiah fruits, on a daily basis because they can't bear to live that way. They want their own individuality. They want their own sense of purpose and being. And, it's looked down upon a little bit by the elders. So we explore a lot of that, and it's just kind of this weird culture that our protagonist is dropped into. But a lot of that goes into kind of, how they would live. They can feel the consciousness of the animals around them, and because of that, they don't hunt. They do eat meat, and we go into that into the story, but they don't hunt the meat because they can't bear to feel the horror that animal would feel before its death. And so we explore that a little bit, but even in this, they're living, their dwellings are supposed to be extremely open. They're not bolting anything into the trees for the most part. They hang canvas, as their roofing, and, they affix wooden floors to the trees. And it's all very, very open because of that, just oneness with the animals in nature. It's, it's a little bit derivative of some, what you might find a more tropey elven culture, but with my own twist to it, my own kind of Native American inspired twist. The Ithling themselves are very much inspired by Native American culture. I've got a very close buddy who's Native American, and I spent a lot of time on the res, and I find it super, super interesting. And that's what drew a lot of the inspiration for these cultures. And with this openness also has a very marked, distinct lack of privacy. Just because, in my mind, if you're kind of living life emotionally naked to everyone and everything around you, physical privacy of your actual being becomes less and less important. At least just in my mind, if everyone can sense what you're feeling, you can't hide your emotions, you can't really hide your consciousness from anyone around you, then it just feels less important to have that physical privacy. So it's just everything's very open, everything's very communal within this living, and that's mimicked in the actual structures and in the way that they choose to live. Like I said, that's also explained within the book itself, but it's something that I wanted to augment with the actual artwork behind how they live. So yeah, the Ithling are just a super, super fun, just a fun, very integral race to my story. It's one of the 5 pillars of my magic system. And I'm it's fun sitting here and I guess drawing and sharing about it. Yeah, the actual. Sorry, I was thinking about something else. The actual drawing itself is gonna, have it's gonna be bordered, stylized, like most of my drawings that are going into the actual book. Something kind of like this. I like to hide little Easter eggs in the other shapes. Some of them are really overt. Some of them are not. I think that's really fun to place something on a page, have my reader get to it, really dissect the piece and not know exactly what's going on, and then maybe later come across a revelation, flip back to the drawing and be like, oh, I saw what was going on right there. I think maybe it's just me it is just me just having fun with the process itself. So up here, I'll erase this and I'll throw the specific fruit that the Ukiah people eat of, from their tree. I'll probably throw another square somewhere right here. I haven't decided what I'm going to throw in there yet. The Ithling aren't a huge part of my first book. They become significantly more important in book 2, and then again in book 3 and 4, and you know, all the subsequent books. I've written my first 2 books in this specific series, and I'm working on the 3rd, and it's going to be longer than 3. But yeah, the lighting is going to be. It's going to be bright, you know. I play this kind of weird line between, especially when I'm doing like scenes and stuff that aren't portraits, between realism and kind of stylization. You know, the light source we're going to have mostly be this little flyer is going to kind of be the light source for the scene. Obviously, we're like tuning up the brightness on this piece just because I want my reader to be able to see everything, you know. I want these drawings to be not only informative, but just pleasing, just something for my reader to gaze at, you know, as they come across this, but also, like, again, informative. This is how me, the author, this is how I viewed specifically the dwellings of the Ukiah people, when I was thinking about them, and, you know, I just am fortunate enough to be able to put this on paper. So yeah, you know, this is the dwellings for the Ukiah tribe. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know if you guys like this.